Hello and welcome to Jerry's Live. I'm your host Matsuman and
I'm Emmy Klein. Welcome to Jerry's Live, of course. And tonight we have a really fun show. Artfinity Markers. We have the brand new Artfinity Markers for you guys. So today's class is JL282. So if you are looking for any of the products that we're going over today, make sure you go to the website jerrysartorama.com and type in JL282 in the search bar, and that should bring up the teacher's card, which has all of the sets, specifically the sets, because I didn't want to put in all of the markers. There's a lot of them. Mm-hmm. 300 markers.
Yeah.
That would be a lot. That would be a big teacher's card.
yes.
So just the sets are in there. Granted, if you do want to find the individual markers, you can click into the set and then find the page that way. It's really easy, nice and linked. So
Yeah, and included in that page, like we are just showing the sets for now, but every single color that you're going to see is going to be able to come in its own 3-pack, and it's sold individually in open stock.
So if you are one of those people that want a marker of a very specific color, you don't have to buy a set in order to just get that one color,
Yeah.
which is really, really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yes,
Speaking
and
of sets.
we have a lot of different options here for our sets. So I'm going to go through them real quick. Like I said, we got our 3-packs right here. We got specifically a 5 set of your fluorescents. So if you really like fluorescent colors, you can specifically just get those.
and that's every fluorescent color that's within the line is in here, so you can get them.
They are gorgeous. We also have 12 color sets of different assorted colors that you can get, as well as a 24, 48, 72, and then our big 150 sets of markers.
Yes. Now, with the smaller sets as well, you're always going to find the primaries and a black, no matter which set you get. We definitely wanted to make sure that you guys got those basic colors, but the higher the number you get, the more those really fun colors you get too.
Yeah.
But speaking of sets, these not only really sturdy boxes, the boxes from 24 and higher do come in a very, very sturdy box that also has not only the swatch cards, like Mott was just holding up.
Swatch cards.
And so you can swatch every single one of your colors. It fits right in there really nicely. But it has built-in stands, which is really, really convenient. So we're going to actually have the big ones set up while we work today, so you guys can see them stood up that way. But if you already have a ton of markers at home,
Yes.
and you want a nice sturdy box to put them in,
We sell just the boxes. So if you have a ton of markers of different brands, if you get Artfinity and you want to personalize your own box, we have a 24 empty box and a 48 empty box that also have those folding stands that you can use, so you can display them on your desk however you like.
not gonna lie, I'm probably going to get a ton of these and get that gold marker, the Artfinity markers, and doodle all over the boxes, because that's gonna be pretty. But back to these markers. So like we said, there are 300 colors. Now, if you are looking to get all 300 colors, they are within both sets. You can acquire all of them by getting both sets. We have a set A and a set B. Both of these have 150 markers in them. They also have the swatch cards, of course. And within each set of 150, which they set up like this, which is really nice to have displayed on your desk, not gonna lie. We've been using these a lot lately, so we've been propping these up on our desk, and it's very convenient to be able to just pull them in and out of the boxes. But before I keep getting into that, all of the sets that are like set A or set B, if you order just a single set, it is a good enough variety of markers that you don't have to worry about, like, you don't have any yellows or you don't have any reds. Like, they split the color line up pretty equally between the two sets, so that way, no matter which one you get, you could have a good enough variety to complete your artwork that way.
Yes, and specifically the set A, if you can only afford to get one of these and you want to know which one you should start with, your set A is going to have all of your main primaries and your black. The set B is going to have your mixing primaries, which are a little bit different. We'll get into that.
We'll show you.
But this is a great set that you can start with, and then your set B has some excellent colors that you can add to your collection. And I don't believe there's any overlap between these two. I think they
There are
both
none.
have their own unique colors.
Now, again, though, if you do get a larger set and you go, oh my gosh, I really love that color Poison, which I love the color.
It's a great
Poison.
color.
It's such a good, it's like a green, like a really funky green. Love that color. I'm probably going to use it a lot, which means I'm going to probably need to replace that one single color. You can buy just the one single color to replace it in your set, which I love so much. But if this isn't satisfying enough for you, here, no, I'm just gonna pull that out of your way so that it's not.
We got a lot of markers here to move around.
There's a lot on the tables.
You
I
can
just need to.
order both sets and organize them however you like, and we got them here in chromatic order. It's beautiful.
Isn't this so satisfying? It kind of took us a minute to put this together, so we wanted to make sure that you guys really got a good view of this.
This is our hard work right here.
So we just put it in chromatic order across the box. So me personally, I'm gonna have this on my desk. That way it's displayed and available for me to grab all the colors, but all my yellows are together. All my fluorescents are at the end. I have the black and the colorless blender over there too, as well as my primaries. But if you wanted to mix it up and organize it in another way that's specific to you, you can.
Yes.
It's very versatile.
And each set of these also comes with a colorless blender that you can use.
No.
Oh, sorry,
No, it
just
does not.
one of
Just
them
the one.
does.
Just set A. Just set A.
Just set A has the colorless
But you
blender.
can always get a colorless blender.
Yeah, they are
individually.
sold individually.
So, I'm going to probably just shove that off to the side because we are going to be demoing these for you guys. But I think you are going to be using set A and I will use set B.
Yes.
Because when it comes to using markers, not only is the marker really important, but so is your paper. And oh, you know what? We have not talked about the actual marker itself.
Oh, yes.
There's a lot of information for us to share with you guys. So information overload, you can always rewatch this. There's a lot of stuff to talk about for this. So the actual marker itself is an alcohol-based marker. So before we forget to mention, it's an alcohol-based marker. It's a lovely, lovely, really solid marker. We've been using this for a while now, and they're really good.
Yeah, and each marker, we took very careful consideration how this was designed. So both your caps and the body of the marker are marked with what color it is. You have a brush tip, which is located on the side where you see a little gray line. You're going to have your brush tip, and on the other side you're going to have your chisel tip. The caps are interchangeable, so if you switch them around, it's no problem. And then we also have, your little markings right here saying which side is which.
And actually, here, we can probably do a up close. There we go. Yeah. So we have, here's the brush indicator. So this is the brush side, and there's your chisel. And then, yes, so we have on the back here, not only do you have your color code, but also the name. And then it's also on every end cap is labeled. Because if you're like me, you're going to uncap markers and move them around and forget which one the cap belongs to and put it on the wrong one. And yeah, it's really nice to be able to kind of double check and get them back to where they need to be. So, Artfinity markers. I'm so excited for these. But yes, the paper, before we forget about the paper. So, because these are alcohol based, the paper you use does matter. It really does. So we have a couple varieties here that I wanted to show you because alcohol-based markers can act differently depending on the papers that you use. So to start off with, the biggest thing for me, because if you're like me and you start off with like Bristol paper and stuff, because that's very, standard, I think, for like a art studio kind of practice, especially when you're just starting off and, drawing, like with charcoal or pencil or things like that. This is a paper that you usually find quite often. And then we have a marker paper. Now, actually, let me remove my artwork from it. We'll go over that later. We have marker paper. Same brand, different type of paper. And actually, let me grab something that's not a mixing yellow because I want, let's go with that fluorescent because it's really, really obvious when I use a fluorescent, right? So I have the fluorescent red here. Bristol versus marker paper. Bristol is more absorbent. Marker paper is designed for markers to sit a little bit more absorbent than the Artfinity synthesis paper, but it's designed for it to sit mostly on the top. But if I just lay down a nice layer here, really vibrant, right? It is incredibly bright. I don't know if you guys can pick that up on the camera. I really hope it is. Maybe we can, yeah. Let's lift it up here.
It's much easier to see in
Actually,
person, I will say.
let's go after that side camera. That might be even better. Because if we show you guys here, I really hope that's visible. Here, let's actually tilt it this way. That might be better. There you go. So this Soho paper is the paper where it's not as absorbed. And you can see where I really got a good layer on it. It is so, so bright.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bristol paper here, there we go. You guys can really see it. It's still really, really vibrant, but it like almost darkens your color. And it's really subtle on camera, I think, but I think in person it's so much more visible. And it's just one of those things that if you're looking for the really bright colors to be visible on your paper, go for a paper that's going to be helpful in that kind of act. Now, Artfinity Synthesis, this is a synthetic paper. So it is kind of like plastic. So when it comes to getting that really brilliant color, this is really going to help you because it's not going to absorb at all. It's not really absorbent in any way, shape, or form, but it's really, really bright. The only problem is that you can get some streakiness to it.
Yeah, you can really see the fluorescent hitting right there.
Isn't that crazy? That's so bright. But yeah, you can see that Artfinity paper. It's really, really brilliant, but it's definitely got a little bit of streakiness to it. But the cool thing is, with this, you can do other things, like hit it with some isopropyl alcohol. Actually, you know what, let me just pop that back over there and make sure that it's in focus. Yes. So you can do, oh no, the glare. Maybe we switch to the overhead camera because that's,
Yeah, I
can't,
don't want it to get a
can't
drip.
tilt it. There we go. So the Artfinity synthesis paper will let you do that. And this is kind of like one of those things, it's hard to get it on camera.
It is, I'm really trying, guys.
It's focusing on the markers. It's okay. Yeah, so you guys can really get a really fun, almost like alcohol ink. It'll reactivate on this paper really, really well. And then you can kind of scribble in different colors, and we can actually, let me do that. Here, grab a color. I got pink. It's literally called pink. I love that.
True blue.
Ooh, okay. So I'm gonna scribble here, you scribble somewhere, and then we can take isopropyl alcohol. Actually, you know what, I'm gonna keep it with the dropper bottle. I also have the spritzer bottle, which is really fun. And then if you let that dry, you can actually go on top of it and layer, but remember it's still going to activate, because here's that fluorescent. You can go on top of it a bit, but it will reactivate on this paper, which is really, really fun. Right?
I just love the isopropyl alcohol over this magenta kind of color. It's, I mean, it's pink. Pink color.
It is pink.
It's just beautiful.
It's called pink. I love it. All right, so we have time to do the demo as well. Do you want to use the marker paper?
Yeah.
All right. And while we're doing that, if you guys have, here's your swatches. If you guys have questions, now would be a great time to ask them because I know there's gonna be questions about this. Yes.
First of all, are they opaque or semi-opaque?
They are very transparent. They're incredibly transparent. And actually here, so I can show you artwork that I've done with these markers. So I got a really good level of blending on these, but it is marker. So here, if you go to that overhead camera, I can show you right here in the hair, I have a lot more of those marker lines that you can see because it works well with the hair. But with the skin tone, this is a lot of layering. a lot of layering. So if you're looking for a more subtle transition like this, it is possible. You just really have to take your time and layer and layer and layer. But they're all very transparent.
Yeah, and I can even show you how transparent these things are, because layering one color on top of the other is similar to like you're layering different watercolor washes where your colors are gonna mix if you layer them on top of one another. Like you can see that right through there.
Well, a little further in. There you go.
Whoops. Sorry about that.
Yeah, so you can definitely see that brown through it. But yeah, that's, I was gonna say I could even very easily go on top of, this is the Accurate technical pen. And if I were to, this is the lines where I had actually taken and put my marker paper over top of it because I didn't want to have my sketch on there. I just wanted it to be visible so like I could do my marker art with my sketch but not have to have my sketch down. Love it. But you could very easily go on top of it that way. So very transparent.
But that's great because if you want to do a lot of blending, if you want to do a lot of different transitions and stuff, it works really well for that. And it can work, like if you're familiar with things like watercolors, it can work very easily for that, or even oil colors.
Yeah. Question?
Yes. Can you explain the difference between like alcohol inks and acrylic inks and maybe water-based inks?
Yeah, that's binders is mostly what it is. So an alcohol-based marker is, alcohol is your binder. The one thing to know with that is that because it is an alcohol base, the color that's in it is dye-based.
Yes.
All alcohol markers are dye-based. It cannot be pigment-based. It's just, it doesn't work well. So with that being said, they're not light fast. So in case anybody's wondering out there, this is an incredibly light fast material. All alcohol markers and alcohol inks are fugitive. It's just kind of the nature of what they are because they are dye-based.
Yeah,
Acrylic
but if
markers.
Well, acrylic markers,
Yeah.
you know, they have an acrylic polymer base. Most of the time, acrylic markers are paint-based, so
Like a
it's
pigment.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
similar to working with acrylic paint, but in the form of a marker. It's going to be super opaque. It's not going to be as transparent as these ones are.
Yeah. Although they do have some varieties. They have some that
Yeah.
are transparent and some that have that opacity. It depends on the pigment used, but all of these are transparent. Question?
Are the nibs double-ended? So for example, if
Oh.
you're drawing and you like smush it down a little too hard, can you flip it over?
Cannot. Okay, I don't believe the chisel tip is. Can I get a just a glove? Like, I was gonna say, I would use the tweezers, but like, I'm not very coordinated with tweezers.
You're gonna get a little tutorial here on
Yeah.
how you could refill these potentially, because there are refill inks for about 100 of these marker colors.
Yes. Yes, the Artfinity markers also has the Artfinity ink line. That we're going to have a show on those in 2 weeks. So April 11th, we're going to have a show on the inks, and we'll show you how to refill a marker that day. But essentially, it's really simple. I cannot remember if this is double-ended, though. I think it is. Yes, it is. So you can have both sides. If your marker nib gets destroyed, just pull it out and you can flip it. I don't believe the chisel tip is double-sided. No. Okay, confirmed, no. But if you do want to refill these, all you have to do is pull out the brush nib and squirt some more ink in.
Yeah. And you can even, if you only want to refill a little bit, like it's just starting to get a little bit dry, you can even
Juicy.
pour just a little bit of the alcohol ink right onto the tip of this if you don't want to take it out.
Yeah. You can definitely recharge it that way. And actually, when you are refilling the markers, I usually put ink into the barrel as well as kind of recharge the nib a little bit. But they're very saturated, very juicy markers, which is great. A lot of color that comes out. All right, sorry, I dropped things. Oops. All right, more questions? Because we're gonna do a little bit of drawing.
How do they compare to other leading brands?
I knew that was gonna happen. I knew you guys were gonna ask.
So as someone who does a lot of drawing, I own a lot of different marker brands at home. These perform very well. That is my own true personal opinion on it. I have Copics at home, I have Winsor & Newton, I have Prismacolor. These are excellent markers. You're
Yeah.
gonna be really happy with them. And yeah, they perform great.
And the really cool thing is that if you want to grab just a few of them, the price point on these markers is incredible. That's the biggest thing for me is that I know other leading brands, I'm not going to name them, but they can get a little pricey. They can definitely hit you on the pocketbook and it can hurt quite a lot with the monies. So for me, this is far more affordable and they're really, really, really good markers. They are very comparable.
Yes.
Which is amazing. So, question?
Yes. What is the benefit of alcohol markers? Why would you use those over a water-based marker?
So, personally, I found they just kind of work very differently. They're two very different types of markers. Alcohol markers can blend very well. They can lay down very smoothly. You can get streakiness depending on what kind of paper you're using, but if you learn how to use these correctly, you can get really smooth washes from these types of markers.
Exhibit A. I don't do a lot of marker art, and I got really good transitions.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would agree. It's honestly personal opinion.
Yeah.
If one works better for you as an artist, use it. If something else works better for you as an artist, use that. So that's really the long and short of it.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we are going to draw some pairs, right?
Yes.
A pair of pairs.
Hey.
All right, so I figured we might as well use the different sets just so you guys can see different ways of layering these markers, which is going to be really fun. But keep it simple with a pair. So I'm going to be using set B.
Yes, and I have set A over here.
I might steal some fluorescents, not going. Although I think I have I have a set of fluorescents down here. Haha.
There you go.
So, yeah, I have the 5 set. So, all right, we have the Soho marker paper. I don't know if you want to grab a new sheet or not, but
I'll make it work.
for me, I usually have a separate, well, here, I'll use this one. I usually have a separate piece of paper next to me as like a way to clean my marker. Especially like when I was using that for the portrait that I drew. I definitely was, when you layer them and they kind of almost like reactivate, your marker can get a little dirty, but like if you scribble it on a clean sheet of paper, that's how you clean them. It's really, really, really great. So, all right. What colors? What colors? I tend to go for really, really bright, crazy colors, which is why I didn't get the set with fluorescents.
Which is ironic because I don't, but I'm definitely using this fluorescent for a pair, which is kind of funny.
You know what? I have blue hair. Let's go with blue. I'm going to go with the peacock blue. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you guys was the big difference between the primaries, and we also have mixing colors as well within the set. So like Matt had said earlier, set B had the mixing colors, whereas set A has your basic primaries. So I am going to actually steal your primaries real quick.
Be my
Sorry,
guest.
I'm reaching. There's primary blue, and can I have the primary red, please?
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, I'll set them here in case you need them. And then I will show you guys the mixing colors as well. So, there it is. Aha, found it. All right, so I have mixing red, mixing blue, which is also called cyan, and then the mixing yellow, and then we have our primary blue, yellow, and red. And that's what they're called, primary red, yellow, and blue. And I'm using the Artfinity synthesis because it's going to be a little bit easier for you guys to really see the colors on this. That's a fun. I love that.
Yeah, I've seen someone recently that does. I would name them if I remembered. Unfortunately, I don't. But they did all of their outlines with marker art, their sketches with a fluorescent, and then they went in with more realistic colors, and just that pop of that fluorescent was so good.
Love it. All right, so since I am mixing, and you are more than welcome to continue to draw while I am mixing these. So.
That's great because I just had somebody ask how well they blend, if you would like your opinion.
Oh, there we go. It depends on how you work as an artist. So like if you blend like I did for the portrait, you can do layers and you can build up your color, which is really cool.
Yeah, I would always recommend whenever you're doing any type of marker art really to start out with really light colors and then layer up as you go. These
Oh, yeah.
markers, they have, all alcohol markers have a tendency to lay down darker than they dry. They will dry a little bit lighter. So it's good to like lay down your color first, see how light it's gonna get, and then build up from there. As far as blending, there's a lot of different techniques for blending.
Oh, yes. So I happen to have a drop of the 91% isopropyl alcohol on this, and I can actually blend them together just by simply tilting them, and you can see it's mixing. But if I wanted to, I could, because this is, remember, this is the Artfinity. Because this paper is not absorbent at all, this is what I was talking about, cleaning your marker. I just kind of scrub it that way. It will pick it right back up and mix it back in, almost like you're mixing paint on a palette. But you could very easily activate it with the just the marker itself. Now this one, I know that blue is going to overpower that yellow, so I'm going to do that probably last. And there's a good orange, which is quite lovely. Actually, let me clean it off over here. All right, and then I'm gonna just go back into this for a green. And yeah, so you guys can see for cleaning my marker, I'm turning my marker as I'm scribbling, and it's getting all of the blue right off the tip there. Yes, we have a question?
Yes. Is there a way to remove your mistakes, or are they permanent?
Well, they're pretty permanent. They're pretty permanent. It's pretty hard to remove alcohol marker. It's very staining. There is a way you can try to remove them, which is with your colorless blender. If I go over top of this, I recommend you try to do this when your markers are still wet, like freshly laid down. As the longer they dry, the harder it is to do this. But I can go in here with a colorless blender and it will kind of push the color out, as you can see. But like I said, it's very permanent and it's not a great way to remove your mistakes.
Yeah. The colorless blender, I like to think of it as, because it's not a blender. That's
really not.
kind of an industry standard of calling it a colorless blender, but it does not blend. It's just one of those things where it kind of pushes the pigment
Yes.
around, and you can get it to move around, almost like where it's like lifting it up subtly. But it is it's a dye base. It is dyeing the paper that it's sitting on. We have another question? Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a smoother. That's more of an accurate statement. It's a smoother, not a blender.
Oh, it was smoother.
And you mentioned that they're fugitive. Would there be any kind of fixative that would help with that issue, or is that just a known?
No, because fixative is really more to get your dry media to not move around on it. Like this, once it dries, like it's permanent. Like it's not gonna come off.
Yeah.
That's what fixative is really more for. But if you're trying to make sure that you protect your artwork, the better way to do it would be to frame it under UV protected glass. Or make sure that it's not in direct sunlight, because the sunlight is what's going to fade your colors out. The other thing is get a really good scan or photo of your work as soon as it's done.
Yeah.
Because over time it could fade, and even under UV protected glass, it's just a protectant. But if you capture it in the moment, you can definitely reproduce it in prints, and you can get another almost like life with your artwork that way.
Do they work on glass?
I would not say so. You can draw them on glass and
Yeah.
it will leave some amount of color on there. It's going to be very transparent though, and they will rub off pretty easily.
Yeah.
I feel like paper has just a little bit more of an absorbency that'll like hold them in. I feel like glass is almost too smooth to be able to give like a good result. You can definitely
Yeah.
try it out, because I might have done that like as I was when I was a kid a few times, like doodled on my window or something, but I don't think the results were particularly
Yeah.
good.
Like I'm pretty sure you can walk up with your finger and just like swipe at it, and it would
Yeah.
come off. I don't know how permanent that would be. But all right, so here is your primaries. versus your mixing colors. So this is just a subtle difference in primaries, whereas like this is more of like a primary for like printing, where it's like the CMYK kind of idea. And then these are like the primaries that we learn about in school, where it's like it is literally red, yellow, and blue. So just subtle mixing differences where like these right here will give you cleaner color mixes, where like your orange is like really, I'm trying to make sure I don't have a glare on this paper, I'm sorry. Your oranges get really, really orange. You got a beautiful purple, there's a lovely green. And these right here tend to be a little bit more subtle and desaturated kind of a thing. So there's the differences between your primaries and your mixing colors. Yes?
Would it be possible to blend if you dipped a brush in alcohol?
Yes.
Yes.
Ish. Yes-ish. So remember, alcohol is going to act more like a colorless blender because it is going to push your pigments around. It's not really great at blending. It's just going to shift them a little bit. It's really hard to like explain that. I mean, I have isopropyl alcohol on here, and I could probably grab a brush for you guys to see. I can give it a whirl.
On that note, I can show you guys kind of a similar trick for this kind of thing. If you were to use, you can do this with any two markers. Keep in mind, this may stain your markers over time if you do this a whole lot. But if I take like my colorless blender right here and I hold it above my other marker and press them together, some of that ink from the colorless blender is going to transfer down into my other marker to the point where it'll kind of have like almost a clear edge. And I can use that to blend the two markers together, or whatever two markers I choose. In this case, it's just going to end up kind of clear. So you guys probably won't be able to see that, but it's just a little bit lighter.
Maybe hold it up closer. Maybe. I don't know how much. Actually, yeah, let's go to that side camera. That might be better. Just to see like the color that's like coming off of the
Yeah,
tip
you can
here.
just see slightly. There's a little bit of a change.
It's so much fun.
And
Like
then if I-
we've been playing with this probably all day.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, it's been a definite fun like mixing with markers today.
Yeah. You can see it started out a little lighter. I could have held it down a little bit more to get rid of some of that streakiness, but you can blend between the two by doing that.
You have another question?
Yes, how strong is the smell of these markers?
It's decently strong.
I
Well, if you
would say the
have,
markers
That's a pretty
aren't.
question. We should ask
Yeah, I was
her.
like, Frida's probably the best person to answer that.
I'm coming off of being ill for 2 weeks, so I can't
That is
smell
very
anything
true.
right now.
Okay, so for me, I smell them, but like, I think, because I've been using the inks a lot more lately, so like,
the inks are very
the inks,
potent.
it smells like an alcohol ink, whereas like these are a lot more subtle. They smell like Copics to me, honestly. That's the best way to kind of describe it.
And if you got like 100 markers open on your desk, you're gonna definitely notice it. Like we
Yeah.
notice the smell right now, but it's not overpowering.
I will say that I can't smell anything from here, and normally I would probably be in mass right now. So.
That's true.
Do these blend with water at all?
No.
No, yeah.
No. I haven't tried the alcohol inks, like the actual inks, which just so you guys can see, this is the refill inks. I forgot that I had it under here, versus the marker. So like this is just a fluid thing of ink. I haven't actually tried these with water. Maybe we do that on the show on April 11th. But just so you do see, this does have a nice little nozzle for you to get into the marker so that you can refill it, which is really lovely and quite convenient if you are a messy person like me. All right, so I have, okay, so what? I don't even know what color I use. Okay, so I had peacock blue for my outline and then light grayish cobalt. I love the colors of these markers. I like poison and brain
So-
are probably my favorites.
I have poison here. I'm gonna show you all it because it is
Yes,
such a
please,
good color.
because they've asked about that on YouTube quite a bit.
So especially if you get
Oh.
this in the alcohol inks,
It
it's
is beautiful.
so
We will
good.
definitely be showing you poison on the next show.
You can see with the markers, it's a green with a very like yellowish base. Can I get a little bit of the?
Here.
Yeah.
There's also poison light in case you guys are wondering. So there's a lighter version as well.
I just unscrewed that whole thing.
Oh, yeah, it's
Not
just
what I
a,
meant to do.
just the cap.
Do a little bit of a
The
drop on
undertones are so pretty. I don't
Yeah.
know, actually, because that's the marker paper. I don't know how much that's going to move around.
that. Ooh, do we want to do it on
Here,
different
let's do it
paper?
on the art. It's definitely going to, but like here, do it on the Artfinity over here.
Oh. That is
Matt's
so
throwing
funny.
markers
I'm
at
so
me.
sorry.
Yes.
How do pastels and pan pastels play with alcohol ink markers?
They play really, really well. What I love to do is get a couple base layers of marker down, and then you could very easily layer things on top of this. The thing to note with that is that the paper probably shouldn't be marker paper, just because your pastels might not play well with this paper. I mean, it will lay down on it, but it just might be better to use something more kind of heavier duty than the marker paper. And also the like the synthesis paper is really slick, so you might pastels will go down on them, especially the softer ones. It's just one of those things that like this I would not recommend, whereas like this would be a little bit better, and then like something that's a little heavy duty, like even watercolor paper would be great, but you can lay down some colors that way. That's so pretty though.
Yeah, you can see. I'm gonna make sure Emmy shows you guys this in alcohol ink because it's so good. But you can even see the difference between these two papers here. Look how drastically that color has changed
Oh,
with
yeah.
the alcohol. It is completely different. If you want to do a lot of stuff like this, you need to get Artfinity type paper.
Oh yes, and we even have a little spritz bottle. And I definitely put this in the teacher's cart too.
Ooh.
Because if you only very subtly spritz, try to make sure that there's not a glare on it, but you can get these little cells almost like, and like texture, which is really fun. And the cool thing is that as soon as it dries, I can go over it again and it'll reactivate it some more. So that poison color though is definitely one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Also, who doesn't love poison green, you know? All right, so I'm gonna actually shove yours
yes.
a little bit further onto the camera here. So, as you can see, we're both more or less optically mixing our colors, but like if I wanted to blend that out a little bit more, I could get one of those lighter kind of colors. Like this is the, let me get one of my other colors that I love, prune.
I love prune.
Amanda, that was for you, really. All right, so prune is like a really nice like grayish purple. It's really lovely. But you can kind of see it's almost like the between those two colors. So if I were to lay that down, it almost blends the two areas together a little bit more subtly. If that makes any sense? I hope that makes sense. But I can let that dry and then go over top of it again just to build up that color. I am definitely not going to be putting these back where they belong. That's okay. So I think I used rose pink before, so I'm going to actually go back, yeah. If I go back in with that, that might not be the right color. That's okay. We're committed now.
No, that's a great color.
I have
Even if it
a
wasn't.
pink hair. But if I want to get the core shadow a little bit darker, if I up that saturation and then again go back in with prune. Oh. See, I'm a brush tip kind of person. What about you guys? Do you guys prefer the brush tip or the chisel tip? Let us know in the comments because I am so curious. Because I always go for the brush tip. I never use the chisel tip.
I think the chisel's great for when you're fully, like, going into large areas, you know, or getting like really crisp lines like this. Like the chisel tip is great for details or like line work and things like that, getting different line widths, but you know, they each have their purpose.
See, I like the brush tip for larger areas. Which team are you guys on? Brush tip, chisel tip? That's the ultimate question when it comes to markers.
Well, I've been noticing you hold them in more of a painterly kind of way in your
I
hand
do.
anyway. So like I can see why you would want to use the
That
brush
would,
side.
Amanda for the win. Amanda knows.
Also, how long does it take for those to dry before you would say you could go back over them as like a second coat, not in a blending coat?
Pretty fast.
Yeah, pretty fast. Like that pink that I laid down is definitely dry by now. It will optically mix, but it's not going to pick it back up. Again, remember this is the paper that is marker paper, not the Artfinity paper. The Artfinity paper, you're going to pick it right back up over and over again, whereas like this will absorb. Granted, there is only so much that a marker paper can absorb, and sometimes it will sit right on top. So you will start to see those layers start to almost reactivate. Like I think that pink is getting about there for me. But if I wanted to, I could still keep going back in and blending them. Now where's that other? I have blue black. I think that's the color that I really love. It is lovely, almost like what's the color that you love? Prussian blue. It's very similar to Prussian blue, or like that shadow color.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I almost forgot what I was going to do here. I laid down a little bit of fluorescent. This is something I found out that was kind of fun with the fluorescent colors when it comes to overlaying them. If I have a really bright fluorescent color and I lay another color over top, it just makes it like a really cool effect.
So much fun.
Oh my, those are some really...
It's still so vibrant. I really hope you guys can see like how much that color is like, boo. It's really, really, really bright.
I'm going to do a yellow here too and layer a darker color over
that?
top of it.
I think it was the blue that you layered on top of the yellow that was just lovely.
Was it?
Both of us audibly went, ooh. Yes, you have another question?
It's not a question, but an observation that I'm not sure that like will be as important to you as
Okay.
it is to me.
Uh-huh.
But the brush tips on these are so good. They bounce right back into shape.
Oh, yeah.
I find with other brands they're really mushy, and I do hand lettering,
Yeah.
and like it's really important to me that it not be a mushy kind of nib.
Yeah, she a sturdy nib. That's for sure.
And I love them.
I just heard Frida go, ooh.
It's a thing that I've always liked watercolor-based markers about better, but these are such good brushes that it just snaps right back into point.
It is. They're nice, and I don't want to say rigid because they have that like felt tip kind of nib that has like that squish almost, but it definitely holds its form. Like,
And if you
Yeah.
push this down really hard, it's going to release a ton.
Yes.
A ton of juice. So if you want like a really
They're
steady light
juicy
color,
markers. They really
make sure
are.
you're not like jamming down on this, but these nibs have a lot of bounce back. And like we said earlier, they're two-sided if you really jam down on them a lot, but they're pretty resistant to pushing. And yeah, like I was just saying here, this is the fluorescent yellow underneath this blue. I just love how it still kind of pops out like that. It still has that vibrancy, even though it's been toned down by the blue.
Also, going back to the smell question, I literally had to put the paper up to my nose to be able to smell the marker.
the
So-
smell dissipates so quickly. It is kind of quite lovely.
They're definitely not anywhere near as strong as some of the other alcohol markers that are out there.
Yeah.
And it truly just smells like a bottle of like rubbing alcohol versus like a Sharpie, like really
Yeah,
strong.
no, Sharpies I
That's
think are
true.
stronger than this.
Yeah,
honestly.
definitely.
Is that
Definitely.
all right? Let's see. What should I do for the background? Should I go crazy? I feel like I should go crazy.
Yes.
Because it's
Party
party.
pair.
Are we doing a party pair? I'm stealing all of. Well, here.
Why is that even a question?
I don't know why I'm asking. All right, fluorescence. Let's party pair this.
All the fluorescence.
I need the brush tip because that's where I live. All right. All right, let's see. I got to use all the fluorescence, don't I? Because yes.
I can imagine like strobing lights and everything already. Or it's kind of like 80s vibes. Just a little bit. I don't know why, but it is.
No. Everyone grab your spandex. We're doing jazzercise.
And going back to that mixing question, I just remembered something here. If you're mixing two different colors together that are like drastically different than another, they're gonna do something similar to what like this brown and this red did, where you're gonna have that big overlap. If you want these to blend a lot easier, try to find a middle color. You know, try to find, if I'm blending these two colors, I might find a slightly cooler blue or green that I put between them. And then that way you're gonna have a more subtle gradient. It's like more, essentially you're just going through the spectrum of the colors and mixing them together, and it's gonna help your blending, especially if you're doing two drastically different colors like these.
Oh yeah, like I did with
Yes.
the prune.
Nola asks how you blend out to a soft color, and that brings me to another question: is should you start with your softer colors and work to your darker colors?
Yes. Okay, so for people asking, I actually made sure to notate what my colors were on this. So I started with Buff. Now I gotta remember which set I used. I think it was yours.
Set A.
Hold on, let me actually look at the purples because I used a lot of purple. Yes, it was definitely set A. So I used Buff, which is, sorry, I'm trying to find the color. I don't remember what the code is.
No.
There it is. It is an incredibly light color.
Yeah, that's one thing about this line of markers. The diversity of color is amazing. You have some really nice pale colors, which at first it's like, it's almost too pale. But then, like, I've been doing some, like, realism studies with these, or, like, studies of, like, older paintings with these markers, and these light colors come in clutch.
They really do. And they're really, really great at blending. That's how I got such subtle blending on her face. But do you guys see the lovely light buff color? The cool thing is that it's already dry, and I can build on it. So on our website, so we have swatches with every single marker on our website. So you can actually see the lines on the background. The lightest one is the single pass. The darkest one is 6. So we literally went there and drew 6 lines and then went over them over and over again. So you guys could actually see how they build up. Now, I do know we actually totally glazed over this, and I forgot to explain this, our color coding system. So let me actually, here, I'm gonna go over to that side camera real fast so you guys can see this. Okay, so I have right here is the Buff, right? There we go. And actually, let me grab a couple other markers too. Might as well grab that one. Hey, perfect. All right, so I hope you guys can see these. I have the first chunk of the code is a letter, or 2 letters really. So we have Y, which is yellow, YR, which is orange, because we couldn't use O because that looks a lot like a 0, and that would get confusing for some people, so they wouldn't know whether it is a 0 or an O, so we went YR. And then we have YR is orange, R is red, RV is red violet, V is violet. Oh God, I'm trying to like look at the markers here. BV is blue violet. Then we have B for blue, which is like this one right here. And then I have BG, which is blue green. Then I have G, which is green. E, like this one right here for the Buff, is our earth tones. So like all of your neutrals and stuff like that would be right here, so like browns and things. Then we have our grays. So we have WG, which is warm gray. We have CG, which is cool gray. We have an NG, which is neutral gray. And then we have our fluorescents, which let me actually just grab one here real fast. Fluorescents all start with the F. Sorry, let me make sure that's in focus. Yeah. So F, and then the next letter is similar to like the color code. So you have Y for yellow, YR for orange. This is the red. So that's how the lettering kind of works. Then after that, we have a number. The first number before the dash, except for the fluorescents. Get that out of here. So the first number before the dash is your color family, your saturation. So if you're in the 1 family, it's going to be really true to the color that it's in. So like YR is orange. So this is really close to like a really true orange that you're looking for. The higher that number gets, the more desaturated it's going to get. Now, the second number is your value. So the higher that number is, closer to 0 is closer to absolutely crystal clear, right? So you guys saw how light this one was, the buff. That's because it's at a 0. If it were at a 9, it would be a lot darker. So this right here, this what is this color? Mixing blue. This is at a 5. So that's why the value is a lot darker, but it is in the B2 family, so it's really, really saturated. So the higher that number is going to get, the more grayed out it's going to be. So that's the color codes for you guys to kind of check out, which makes it a little bit more understandable as far as like, in my mind at least, for when we do kind of almost like when you're painting kind of a thing. If you're looking for a certain kind of color, that's what you would really be looking at.
Or if you're looking to organize these in chromatic order,
Also
that's understanding that is going to help you a lot.
Yes, so we definitely went by chromatic order, like by the number for the 2 sets that we had that were kind of across the board for the 2 boxes where they were in order, where we had all the yellows together and all that. We went by the number. So the first number first, and then went through like 1 through 9 on that side. Oh, now there is one other thing I wanted to point out. Let me find a color here. This will show you. All right. So this one is RV4-65. So this is a red violet. It's in the color family 4, and it's got a 6.5 as a value. That does not mean 65. That means it's in between a 6 and a 7. So really think of that as 6.5. So anytime you see a 5 at the end of that second number, it's really like a half of a step between the previous and the next number. So that's, it's not 65, it's more of like a 6.5. But if we started adding decimals, these color codes would get incredibly long. Yeah. So that's how to kind of look at it that way. So.
On the papers that you've used here today, how much are the alcohol inks bleeding through?
So you can see it bled through a lot where we put that alcohol ink down.
Yeah, now that is specifically happening because of, the isopropyl alcohol went through the paper, but you don't see any of it going through the tablecloth. This, I did a lot of layers. Now, you can see it through the back. It did not bleed through to the next page. This is marker paper. It is designed for that. That's why it's so good at what it does. Now, the Artfinity synthesis paper, also not going to bleed through whatsoever. Like, that's essentially a layer of plastic. It's not going to happen. Now, Bristol. That being said, Bristol paper can definitely bleed through. So if I were to, here, I had this, right? Where's that colorless blender? Can I have that?
There
Thank
you
you.
are. I think that one might be a little stained because I
That's
just
all
used
right.
it. Oh, no, that's good.
You use the chisel tip, right? So again, colorless blender is almost like it lightens things and it pushes the pigments around.
And
but
the colorless blender, all it is the same kind of solution that's in these markers, but without the dye.
yeah. So with that, I just went over that quite a bit, right? This is Bristol. This is why Bristol is not something I would suggest for you to use. It might even have gone, yeah. It almost went through to the next page. Your paper, if you use like a marker paper, that's just one of those things where, yes, you can see it, but it's not going through it. Next question?
Is there a ground available where you could use these on canvas? I don't know.
I mean, you could probably use watercolor ground, but like, because watercolor ground is really, really absorbent.
Yeah.
Use the Yes canvas.
I was saying,
How about
what are
that?
the
Go
Yes
use yeah, grab me a Yes canvas. Why not? I don't. Sorry, these are all the
only thing
the
is that,
colors
like,
I use.
Even if you layer grounds, your canvas has to be like really smooth.
Yeah.
Because any kind of texture on your canvas, these are gonna pick up
Yeah,
really
I
well.
was gonna say, can you grab me just a normal, like, Paramount canvas too?
Yes.
Something that's like, I can show you what it looks like on normal canvas. And then the Yes canvas tends to be a little bit smoother.
Yes.
And it's meant for all media, so it will go on the Yes canvas. I just don't know, because these are some juicy markers.
It's like
it
similar
might be,
to the Bristol paper where it wasn't as vibrant. It might be the same case.
Can you talk about the Yes canvas while you use it?
Yes, I can. All right, so this is, I have the Yes canvas over here. Mod has, what is that, Centurion? What brand is that? It's what?
Practica.
Oh, Practica. Okay. So, it's really hard to see because it's white on white on white. I'm sorry. The Yes canvas is a lot smoother. This is going to be way more obvious when I start marking on it. This has a lot more texture. So the Yes canvas is a smoother canvas in general. So let's just do a couple of swipey swipes. Right? Yeah. So this is quite satisfying. I actually really like that.
Yeah, that
really
doesn't
lovely.
lay down very bad at all.
No, it doesn't. Now, with this, the reason why I think I like the Yes canvas better is because those edges of my markers isn't like skipping over the top of the canvas weave, whereas like it is more on yours.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult to see, but this is a very smooth surface. And that marker, it almost looks as good as
Go
it
to the
did on the
side.
Bristol board paper.
You want to go to the side camera?
Yeah.
Because we can probably show you a little bit closer here. Maybe if we do it side by side like that. Woo!
you know, it's-
We're really zoomed in. Sorry.
It's definitely not
Okay.
going to bleed through your canvas either. So.
No. All right, so you can see it was definitely skipping a little bit more here on this texture. Actually, you want to take another one and like just a line? That might be better. That was a very solid line, Mott.
I'm sorry.
That's what I meant. That.
Okay, yes.
Sorry. This-
All I heard was line, I'm sorry.
You did a great line, I'm not gonna lie. All right, so this is what I'm talking about. That texture is gonna be far more pronounced on a normal canvas, whereas like if you were to do that on this one, it is a lot smoother.
I can even do a longer one for you guys. Redeem myself.
Yeah, it's a very smooth, and it's hard to do this at an angle with somebody else holding the canvas. but yeah, so like the texture of that is a lot more subtle than the texture of this. But cool thing about the Yes canvas is that it accepts all media. So if I wanted to, I could take this and I could put acrylic paints on top, and I could put any other thing on top as well, because it literally just takes it all the different media. It is quite fabulous. Now, do I want to do a fluorescent purple? Yes, I do. I'm going to use the chisel tip. I don't like the chisel tip. Oops. All right.
I love the color these two made when they mixed.
Ooh, that is
That
lovely.
was the Sunburst. That's YR05-3 and the Fluorescent Red.
Now that sunburst, because the first number is 05, it's YR05. This is like really bright, really, really vibrant, which is why it's in the 05 category.
You can see too, I'm just layering on this, and you can see it's starting to pick up a little bit. So this doesn't dry quite as fast as it has on my marker paper. Something to be aware of if you're gonna do this.
Yes,
I
what
just want to point out how many different yellows are in the Artfinity lineup. Because
Oh,
a lot
yes.
of other brands don't have, like, they've got like 5 yellows.
Oh, so
Five.
many.
And then like,
5 yellows.
and then like 20 blues, you know?
I could
Yeah, I
pull
was-
out all these yellows forever. There's so many different.
Who's got a lot more yellows? Okay. Set A or set B?
I have a lot
I'm still
more.
going. I'm still going.
Oh my gosh.
There's more.
I had the primers though, and
Yeah.
the fluorescent. This is a
So
kind
that's-
of competition.
Yeah. And that's the cool thing is that like again, within set A and set B, you get no repeat colors, none. But you get desaturated yellows. You get really vibrant yellows. You get yellows that are really, really light and that you can build up, like the skin tone buff that I was building up for that portrait. And you can then use that to blend your other colors together. You get, like, even this one, it's called mustard. It's called mustard. Like, Mustard yellow. I have a pair of pants that color. It's lovely.
You've got some
So.
super light colors. Like this parchment color is one of my favorites. It's super subtle.
Ooh. It does look like parchment, not
Yeah.
gonna lie.
Speaking of skin tones, do you find that there's a good range of colors that you could use to create skin tones?
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
I
Yes.
would say so.
I want to say between the yellows, the oranges, I mean, skin tones are so dynamic. This is why I love doing portraiture. You can find even these funky like blues and purples that I have here on my canvas. You can find these in people's skin tones. I mean, it's so dynamic. No matter who you're looking at, you're gonna always see different colors. But that being the case, if you're talking about like browns, like you can get anywhere from like a darker shade over to like a darker shade that has like more red tones. Like my yellows had a different subtle shades, and then you could also grab in some purples. Like this right here could be a palette for a portrait, and then mix it with a lighter skin tone or a lighter, like this is called blonde wood. It's a yellow, but you can use that for your highlights, and you can also use it to blend these colors together. Like there are so many different tones that you can use for
Yeah.
just a portrait in general,
And
no matter who you're painting.
I've been pulling out all different colors that I think could
Yeah.
be used for different types of skin tones.
Yeah.
And literally these are starting to fall out of my hand and I can keep going.
Yeah.
There's a really diverse range.
We're gonna
of
have a
colors
really
you
fun
can use
time
for
putting
this.
these all back.
So you're beautiful, organized.
It's okay. This is your set, right, Maud?
Yeah, apparently. I've just been pulling them out. Yes. Question?
YouTube would like to know, what is the light fast rating for these?
No. The answer is no. They're alcohol markers. All alcohol markers are dye-based, therefore none of them are light fast. So no. And that's just the name of the game with alcohol-based markers, inks, all of it. It's all fugitive. That being the case, there are certain things that you can do to protect your artwork, like framing it under UV protected glass, varnishing, all those things. Granted, I've never varnished alcohol markers, and I don't know what that would do, because it might be like the isopropyl alcohol where it starts activating it again.
Yes.
If anybody has done that, let me know in the comments, because I am so curious. You have another question?
How true are the cap colors to the actual marker colors?
Mustard. Let me see if I can find that mustard again.
I need to pull this into view here.
Mustard, where'd you go? Yeah.
can see
They're
some of
they're
them.
pretty accurate. Like, yeah. Here's mustard. Mustard is mustard. So like, there might be some that have like a slight difference, and that will always depend on what surface you are using.
Yes.
So, oh, the other thing I almost forgot to mention are swatch sheets. These. Because paper is so important, we provide this for you to swatch, so it's nice and in order within your sets. But we are going to have this as a downloadable option so that you can then take this, as I flip it around my hand, and print it off on a laser printer is better than inkjet, because the alcohol-based markers will move inkjet ink. But a laser printer will work better, and then you could actually print this whole thing on the paper that you use as an artist, so that way your swatches are 100% accurate to what's going to happen on your paper. That was something that I was definitely pushing for, because as I was swatching all of these and going from one sheet of paper to another, it's not always a massive difference. Sometimes it can be very subtle, but it's enough that us as artists, like, that's something that bothers me, and I want to know what's going to happen to my colors when I put it down on my paper, my canvas, whatever. Yes.
Another reason it's important to use a laser and not an inkjet is because when you lay down the lighter colors, because it's going to move that pigment, it's going to give it a gray tone.
Yes, and that way
And you can go
you
to
know.
like a local print shop and have them print stuff off for you on a laser
Oh,
printer
yeah.
if you don't have one.
Yep, there's what is it, Office Depot, Staples, FedEx, Kinko's, all those places have print services. And if you don't have any of those near you, just go on Google Maps and type in print services and you should be able to find something there. You have a question?
3.
Oh, we have 3 questions.
One,
I love it.
have you used them on multimedia artboards?
No, I don't believe I have. Again, these are all really brand new. Have I used it on them?
I don't think so. I
don't think I
even
have.
know if I have one to test it on.
Multimedia artboard.
Let me
No,
look here, it's the other question.
Katie's gonna go check to see if we have any. I don't know if we do, but I have not used these. These are brand new. But I would imagine they would work exactly like Copic. If you use Copic on a certain surface, it would be comparable.
Okay.
Yes.
Are they safe for plane travel?
Yes. I brought, not these specific markers, but other alcohol markers that are very similar to them on a plane before, no problems. I'm sure if you brought like a whole bunch of them, they might check out to see where they are, but I'm pretty sure they are under the standard. Is there something else? Did I do this wrong?
No. Okay, so yes, you can get away with them because I've gotten away with it too. They get a little upset if they find out that they're alcohol-based markers because technically that's flammable and nothing flammable gets on a plane. If they have no idea, you're fine, but because sometimes they know.
Yeah, TSA, I didn't say that.
Just
You saw nothing.
nobody from the TSA talk about this show. No, it's one of those things that there is a possibility that it could get confiscated. Like it's one I wouldn't risk it unless you're just like, markers, it's fine. But if you're like me and you love your art supplies and hoard them like crazy, you don't want to lose your art supplies. So technically, no. You're not supposed to bring these on a plane.
Yeah, don't be sneaky like me.
Mott, I see you.
And then the last one is are there any special storage needs, like horizontal, vertical?
That is a great
Diagonal.
question. Now, technically, it comes in a box that is ready for storage. Because it is sitting like this, it is more horizontal on your desk, and that is better for long-term storage. Now, granted, you could have it upright. That's not a problem. But for long-term storage, you want them to be horizontal because it has 2 nibs on either side. And if you have it tipped towards one or the other, you're going to charge one nib rather than the other.
Yeah.
So if you have it horizontal, it'll keep both charged nice and equal. But if you're just using it on your desk, like having it upright is totally fine. But they come with storage solution already.
Yes.
All right, so I believe that was the show. There was a lot of information, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Now remember, we are going to have another show on the Artfinity inks, specifically, just the inks, and I will show you an actual demonstration of me refilling a marker. Hopefully I have one that's low enough and I don't get ink all over myself.
Yes.
Maybe I'll
So-
just end up with ink all over me. It'll be fun.
A reminder, all of these can be found in our teacher's cart. If you just type in JL282 into the search bar of jerrysautorama.com, you'll be able to find them. And from those links, we have the sets in those teacher carts, but if you want to be able to find the open stock, if you want to be able to find the 3-packs, even if you want to be able to find the Artfinity ink, you will be able to find them through the links.
Yes. Now, also, if you do use the Artfinity markers or inks or anything Artfinity related, please make sure you post it to our Jerry's Life Facebook group. We would love to see what you create. It makes us so happy to see you guys making the world a prettier place, but with your artwork. But if you do, make sure you tag it with the JL282, as well as, do we have a hashtag for the Artfinity line?
I think it's just #Artfinity.
Hashtag Artfinity. Nice and simple. I love it when that happens. But if you are going to post it to our Jerry's Life Facebook group, because that is about 7,000 artists worldwide, and it's free to join. All you have to do, though, is answer the one security question, because if you don't answer that question, we decide that you're a robot and you're not allowed in. So,
Yes.
Yes.
And make sure you come back for next week because it will be the first show that I am hosting without Emmy.
Yes.
So I'm sorry for all those Emmy fans out here, but she's not going to be there.
I'll be watching.
She'll be
I'll
watching.
be there in the comments.
Yes, but not physically up here. And we're going to be doing a how to create your own watercolor palette specifically with primaries and how to use those primaries effectively. So
It's going to be an amazing show. I've seen the artwork that Mott's going to be making, and I'm so excited for you guys. It's going to be a really great show. But then the next one after that is going to be the Artfinity Ink. So next show, Mott. Yes. But that was it, guys. We will see you guys next week. Bye!
bye.